When I went to France, I guess my expectation was my primary goal going abroad was to like learn the language and to just immerse myself in the culture and to living with the host family. Like I knew that I was going to get a pretty authentic experience. So my expectations were to really just immerse myself in a culture that's different from mine and like just take it all in essentially and see like how much I could learn from other people and how much I could learn from being abroad.
Were you in a relationship before you left for study abroad? Yes. I have been in a relationship for 14 months now, so over a year. And I only started going abroad this year, so yes, I was in a relationship before I left for study abroad.
And I'm not a partier. I'm not like I didn't go there to go bar hopping in, Spain. I went there because I want to see the culture, the history, and just get a feel for what is Spain as a nation and how people are there. So I went there to learn about the culture and experience it and hope that it can open my eyes to like how people live differently in the different areas of the world. And
What were my expectations for the trip? Eat really good food, see really good places, learn some cool things, meet some interesting people. Yeah, I think that's about it. I know a lot of people went on the trip that I went on, especially for Israel. Not so much. I went to Mexico as well for a service trip, but particularly in Israel, people really wanted to like hook up with the Israelis. It's like this big deal, like ooh, Israelis, foreign boys slash women. Ooh, didn't care. No, didn't want to. Mm. Not my thing. Not that it shouldn't be people's thing if that's what makes them happy. But I was just like, I'm gonna be here 10 days. I'd rather not waste any time on that. I traveled to both Israel and Mexico this year. Mexico was an alternative spring break. It was Isla Mujeres, which is off the coast of the actual country of Mexico. And then Israel for 10 days on Birthright.
abroad, I've been to a few places, but I mainly Spain.
I went to Spain, I went to Madrid, and then we went to Italy. I went to Rome and Venice, and then I went to Germany. I went to Berlin, and then I went to London.
I became friends with a good portion of them. My Israeli friends, I would say that I made were Maya and Matan. And then, as far as the group, I would say Alec, Josh Stadner. Um, yeah.
And I also traveled a little bit within France. I went to like Normandy and Brittany in the north, and then to Provence in the south, and to Strasbourg on the east. I didn't really get super close with a lot of like native Parisians because I realized most people moved to Paris. But my closest friends, the people who I traveled with, the people who I hung out with most of the time, were other USC students also in the program.
It became a really good friend of mine because I mean we lived together, so we had to. And my two other people became really friends of mine. They're named George and Shelby. They're actually dating now. They've been spending they've been dating for like past years, which is very romantic, I think.
What did we do for fun and where did we go? Well, we liked to chat and exchange stories about our lives because we were all, very different people. Not talk about our Jewish background. Sounds weird, but like, oh hey, how are you Jewish? But yeah.
For fun, we would go to museums and we would go out at night and like try to meet French people and like talk to them and hang out with them and be cool. That kind of worked to some extent. For fun, there are a lot of exhibits in Paris. There are a lot of things to see. We would literally just take a weekend to go sightseeing or to like go try this like really well reviewed, I don't know, like sandwich shop on Yelp, and we would just go and do that for the day and then walk around and take the metro around and just see where the day took us. And then at night we would go out to bars and pubs and kind of explore the nightlife in Paris, which is like relatively docile, I think, compared to other European cities.
Went out a lot. Um, got good food. On New Year's, plenty of people went clubbing. I myself spent my New Year's in a Tel Aviv tea shop. Lots of people had fun getting out and drinking and seeing the club scene of Tel Aviv, because it's one of the top 10 party cities in the world.
I noticed like French men are definitely more forward in terms of like pursuing women and like pursuing girls. So like if they're interested in you, they will let you know. It's not like in the US where it's like, oh, like I think he likes me, or you know, it's very direct. And so I didn't have a relationship, but like you definitely get attention, and I know like people did date more often there than here.
Actually, one of my friend's little sister, Stephanie, and she met Rowie, who was one of the Israelis, and they instantly clicked, and they were just together the whole trip. They met they met in the airport because he was one of the Israeli soldiers assigned to our group to hang out with us. And their goals in the relationship were, you're cute, I'm cute. Let's have a nice, wholesome time.
Women were very friendly, you know, but men, all they did is flirt with me, actually. They flirt a lot. They hit on you, like, all the time, especially when you're a foreign girl. They just, like, hit on you 24/7. So that was my experience with both genders.
I went on a date with someone. It was really interesting. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go, like considering language barriers and stuff. But this is someone who I met at a church that I went to while I was in Paris, called Hillsong Paris. So yeah, we went on this date. It was like fairly non-awkward, pretty standard, I think. I was curious to see how he would treat me and how he would, like, what expectations he would have of like the date and like what he wanted, considering that he knew that I was gonna leave like 2 weeks later, or I think it was a week before I left that we went on the date. So it was interesting for me to even like, I felt it was like interesting that he even asked me out knowing that I was gonna leave so soon.
Matan and I are pen pals. Via Facebook, we send each other big messages and talk about our lives, say ridiculous things, trade words of the day. He teaches me an Israeli word, or Hebrew, my bad, and I teach him an English word.
Well, like we're like all Facebook friends, obviously, and then aside from that, like I do Skype occasionally with one of my friends from abroad, but not too often. I've only Skyped with him once actually. But he was in a relationship with my friend, so like I think that's why I was able to keep in contact with him more, because their relationship continued even after we left Paris.
We had like the playboy in the group, Maor, and then they had like the nerdy shy guy. That was Rowie, and then I would say the girls were more confident. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Israeli women, man. Confident. Lots of it. They are saucy, and they know it. I think it's part that they're all in the military, so they all did the same thing, so there's no like, I'm a man, mer. It's like, well, we were all in the military, and we were all wandering around with machine guns, so I will shoot you, Mr. Manly Man, if you don't shut up. That seems like a really random reason, but I feel like that helps equalize things, because the girls were super proud to be serving their country, and the guys were just kind of like, nah, I guess I'm wearing a uniform, don't care. And the women were like, yeah, heck yeah, I'm wearing a uniform, heck yeah, I work in the intelligence department, and I'm super badass, and I, run battalions. Damn Skippy. So I would say women were really confident. Not that the men weren't necessarily, but they were, more dilute. The women were like, bam! I'm a badass.
It was really hard to make girlfriends because they just seemed like a little bit standoffish, especially if you weren't French like them. So I didn't meet that many like local girls.
Be a little more like if you happen to be like a huge party girl back in the States, like they want you to be a little more down to earth, like keep it together, because obviously in Spain that's not very proper, people don't like party like the way we do here, or like dress the way we do here, you know what I mean, like not as revealing, like 4-inch heels and the skirt that barely covers your butt, like that's not proper in Spain, and because of that you will get a lot of catcalls and just hit on, and it's not very good in that sense. So like you're kind of expected to be a little more conservative in that sense. So yeah.
And most of my interactions with men abroad, or I guess guys abroad, were at bars or pubs where they were like very obviously like had ulterior motives and had like different intentions, you know. They were talking to you because they like, I don't know, like wanted something from you. So it was interesting. Like all my friends who did have guy friends abroad were dating them. So I think like there was this like, if you don't want to date anyone, it's going to be hard to just make friends. Just make guy friends. We were warned at orientation that like if we accepted drinks from guys, like, and we accepted more than one drink from a guy, they would expect us to go home with them, which is why I was really cautious and like, so I do think like even just from like the program that felt the need to warn us about this, I think that expectations abroad for women definitely are different, especially in France. I can speak for France the most, because that's where I spent most of my time, and I think I think a lot of us were more cautious because of this, and like we're definitely always a little bit like on the defensive side. So, yeah.